I've got Sam here. This is an interesting time, and I think one of the things that we can do is just stay connected. And thankfully, we've got technology to stay connected. And something that I want to do in this time is have a dialogue with one of my Facebook friends a day. And then just post it. The first person I want to have a dialogue with is not only a wonderful friend, but a wonderful cousin too. And I'm blessed to call him cousin and friend, and that is Sam Curtis Bowles. Sam, how you doing today?
I'm doing great, and I would echo, Tyler, what you're saying. I heard one newscaster put it this way: social distancing does not have to equal social isolation. So thanks to technology like this, I think it's really important for us to be FaceTiming and staying connected with people we know are home alone, and just our friends and acquaintances in general. So I really like the way they put that. Social distancing does not have to mean social isolation.
Absolutely. I love that too. I wanted to start with you, Sam, mainly because I've always looked up to you, but another reason is you're actually the person. I think, I don't even know if you remember this. You're the person that introduced me to Facebook, and I actually have a message. I'll show it. I'll edit it into this clip. But I have a message of you saying like, "How'd you even find out about this?" Do you remember that? And if you do, tell a little bit about that.
Yeah, I remember that time well, because part of what made Facebook successful in the beginning was that it was exclusive. So, for example, when Mark Zuckerberg started it, in the beginning, you had to have now I'm going to look like an idiot if I'm wrong, either Harvard or Yale. I don't remember which school he did not complete his degree at. I think maybe Harvard. But then anyway, as he scaled, he rolled it out to colleges of varying size. So, like, I remember being, I think, a sophomore at the University of Southern Indiana, and it became known that now we were allowed to get it, but you had to have an @usieagles.edu email address. And so I remember then when high schoolers started getting it, which would have been you at the time, I was like, oh, they're letting high schoolers have it now. So I think the message that you're going to post is something like, hey, I see you figured out Facebook.
Yeah.
How did you find out about Facebook?
Yeah.
Because at the time, we were also all balancing two different lives, at least. MySpace was still the king. And so we had our presence on MySpace, and that's where everyone was. But there was this new thing called Facebook that was just taking off. So it's really funny to think about how far it has come in that time. And I also remember some of the early habits people were forming on Facebook are funny to look at them now. Like, I remember when Facebook started, there wasn't even a wall. You could have one profile picture, a little bit of information about yourself, and then you could just connect with people. And then I remember when they rolled out the wall, then it was like, well, we have to write on each other's walls. And so people wrote on walls things that would be so silly now. Like, someone would write publicly, hey, I hope you enjoyed that coffee today. Or, hey, did you watch the last episode of Survivor? Things that we would probably message or text about now. So it is really funny. It's really funny to see the evolution. And then another thing that I think is hilarious is, from the beginning, every change Facebook has made, and it's no different today, 80% of people are like, I hate this. Why are they letting high schoolers on now? Or like, nobody asked for a wall. We don't need a wall. We hate the wall. And then I'm sure you remember when the news feed rolled out.
Yes.
And people, like, their world collapsed. And like, I hate this. How do I turn off news feed? So it is not just an old person thing. As a whole, people don't like change.
Yes. And I would say, like, it still helps us keep connected. I know some people have moved on to other social media platforms like Instagram and others. I know there was one, I remember you using it. There was one that was like a blend of Facebook and Instagram and Twitter. I can't remember the name offhand. You remember that one?
No, it obviously didn't survive.
So there's always something.
Yeah, there are all these different platforms, and it's funny, it was funny when I was teaching high school, Facebook was already like, no,
Mm-hmm.
no, mister, nobody cools on Facebook. And Instagram was a thing. And then while I was teaching high school, what's the one that has died since then? Vine. Vine, which had the 7-second videos, it died. Now TikTok, I think, is the new hot thing among the youngsters. So, yeah, it's pretty funny. I know that my coworker's son, who's getting ready to go to college, he has a Facebook account, but his class, his generation, some of them almost view Facebook like LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like this professional, they need to keep it professional because they know college recruiters are going to look at it. They don't actually actively use it themselves. They're on Snapchat and maybe Instagram. Yeah, so it's certainly a fascinating thing to think about for sure.
Absolutely. Something about you, Sam, and I say this to Megan sometimes, and I'm not just saying this to give you a big head or anything, but you are one of the most talented people I know. Like pretty much anything that there is, you could do it well. Like I joke with Megan, I say, he's one of those people that he could spit. And like you've never seen anyone spit like him. Like you're musically talented. I know that's weird, but you're musically talented. You're being successful in the business world now. I've heard you speak, and you're excellent at that. I mean, you just do a lot. Pretty much anything you do it well, and I appreciate that about you. But with being so gifted, what is your favorite, like if you had to have like a top 5 list of things that you love to do, like, and that's probably hard, but like what do you enjoy doing, just if you had free time? I know right now is a busy time for you, but like what do you enjoy doing and using your gifts?
Sure, that's a good question. I don't know that I spend a lot of time thinking about it. I would say activities I enjoy on my own. I love to read. Obviously, moving to California, I've discovered some new hobbies I didn't know that I enjoyed. So, like, I've taken up sailing here.
Cool.
I knew that I liked to be on the water. I loved every chance I had to go out with my grandparents or my own family when we had a boat. But sailing is its own thing, and in a way, it's even cooler than being on a ski boat because it's just so peaceful. There's no power. It's just the wind. Obviously, it's gorgeous. So I like that. I don't know that that's really related to your question. I think I enjoy teaching people. So even having moved out of education and into the business world, I have been able to continue through the country's largest professional organization for the floral industry to speak at conferences, to work with other businesses one-on-one. And so it still gives me an outlet for that part of me that enjoys teaching and connecting with people in that way.
Awesome.
For sure.
Awesome. And I definitely can see where that's a win-win if you enjoy it, because I know people enjoy hearing from you as well and learn a lot. I mean, I've learned a lot from you just in our time together. Which brings me to the next question. We've got a lot of good memories, unfortunately, with life and the changes that life brings. We haven't gotten to spend a whole lot of time together, thankfully, because of technology, with calling each other and texting. We've been able to stay in touch, but not a whole lot of time actually person to person. And but when I think of memories that we have together, I think of mission trips that we've been on together. Tanzania, Africa. That was my first mission trip, and I really appreciated you being there because it was you were a veteran traveler at that time, and it was just good to have you there, and other mission trips that we've gone on. But what's some memories when you think about our friendship, think about us, being family? What's some memories that come to mind that you think of?
Yeah, well, as far as the family goes, I think our cousins are kind of in some groupings.
Yes.
And so I kind of see me and Andrew being the young ones of the oldest group.
Uh-huh.
And then there was a little bit of a break, and then it kind of picked up with Travis and Terrell and Jonathan and you and Isaac. So I definitely felt like, just like with my brothers, I was just older enough that it wasn't until we were like you were in high school that it didn't feel like you were my little cousin, maybe. So I have lots of family memories like that. Lots of memories of Holiday World and Splash and Safari. I don't know if anyone's ever told you, but you and your brother were very spoiled. your your mother and father were so excited to have you both that you were basically both like only children. And so one memory that I have that's really distinct and funny is the first year those Adidas sandals were released that have like all those little rubber knobs on the bottom.
Yep.
You and Travis had them, and they were brand new, and it was a really long walk from the old wave pool all the way to the front gate of Holiday World. It still is a long walk.
Yes.
I remember by the time we got from the old wave pool to the front of the water park, which is not even halfway, you and Travis were both, like, your feet were almost bleeding.
I remember those hard things.
Yeah. And your mom was ticked because they weren't cheap. They were, like, the newest, coolest summer footwear. And she was like, well, you're going to wear these things because they're brand new. And it was just, I think maybe we put you both in a wagon and drug you to the front. And I don't know why that stands out, but I do think it's kind of a funny memory for sure.
Well, you're right about that. I don't like to use the word spoiled. I like to say I was blessed, but you're definitely right. And I've learned more about that here since I've been married, and Megan reminds me of that. So
and you know, I was kind of the practice child for your mom and dad.
Yes, I know you were pretty upset when we came to the world.
Your mom and dad were and are my godparents. And I spent a lot of time with them. I spent a lot of time with your dad. You know, I think something that you and I both have in common, I think we have a lot of things in common, obviously. Chelsea even said the other day, like, you and Tyler are similar in a lot of ways. But I think one of the things we share that has shaped us is we both spent a lot of time with people who are a lot older than we are. Like, we both grew up very comfortable with older people. I even always said, like, my prime demographic were women in their 60s or older. And so I think that shaped the way we just kind of, even as children, seemed a little unnatural as communicators. You know, like we seemed like little old men, basically. So, like, I remember being in the living room with your dad and him spinning Conway Twitty vinyl.
Yeah.
And that was before hipsters decided that vinyl was cool again. So, like, even as recently as, I'll tell you this, I haven't even told you this, for our employee appreciation party this year, we did some karaoke, and my employees were like, "Sam, are you gonna sing?" And I was like, I guess I'll do a song. And so I put on Frankie Valli, "You're Just Too Good to Be True." You know, I love you, baby, and it's quite all right. So I start singing, and my employees don't know anything about that I was a worship leader or whatever. Some of them do, but they don't really know. And they were just like, the whole time. And they were like, "Oh my gosh, we didn't know that you could sing." So then I was kind of a ham about it. I'm like, well, I was actually the front man for a band. It's what I did professionally for like 5 years. And they're like, "What do you mean?" I was like, "No, I got paid to be the lead singer for a band for 5 years." And they're like, "Really?" And I was like, "Yes." And then I tell them the breakdowns. Like, it's not quite as glorious as it sounds. It wasn't like a rock band. I was a worship minister and whatever. But I really do think it's all those experiences with people like your parents, people like our grandparents, people from Fairview. You know, I have those fond memories. And all of that stuff has definitely, for better or worse, made us into the goofy and the goofy hams that we are today.
Yes, definitely. And I'm glad you mentioned your grandparents, because you're their namesake, right? Samuel Curtis, named after both of your grandfathers, so that's pretty cool. And I always like that was because I love family names. So, and you were talking about our cousins, you know, at Christmas. You unfortunately weren't able to be there. They wanted a picture of the original cousins, so that was, you know, our older cousins, and Isaac and I were like, you know, we're originals too. But I know what they meant. You know, there's like those waves of cousins, and then you're kind of in the middle of them. And we joked with Amy when we saw her last at Blair's party that, you know, I think another word for them are the antiques. which they did.
Right.
She didn't like that.
Yeah. Well, I think the oldest wave is probably pushing 50 at this point. We'll have to have Holly comment on the video, but yeah, they're going to be eligible for senior citizens discounts before long, for sure.
Oh, it's great. And what's cool is, where we landed, we got to watch their kids grow up, and now their kids are close to college or in college, and it's just really neat to see, the wonderful young men and women that they are. I recently had lunch with Robbie and Garrett, and that was just so cool to see how they're doing, and they're in college now, which is hard to believe. So we're blessed. We really are blessed.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, is there anything else that comes to your mind, that you in this time you think about just the blessings that we have, like family, and just, being able to talk even with the restrictions we have and with the crazy season we're in? Like, is there anything else that comes to mind that you'd like to share?
Well, honestly, I think everyone could learn from something that is a normal habit of yours. And I'll toot your horn a little bit here. Let me put it this way. I don't know a human being personally who stays in touch with more other human beings than you do. I say that the reason this series you're planning on Facebook is going to be so interesting and successful is because I don't know anybody who collects friends the way that you do. And I mean that as a good thing. Like, I've been with you numerous times when you take a phone call and you talk for 20 plus minutes, and I'm like, who was that? And you're like, well, I was in a McDonald's in Eastern Tennessee about 3 years ago, and there's this guy behind me in line. And the people here in California love it when I do my voices of my family members, by the way. And that is no exaggeration at all. So I think that is a cool thing. And I found myself, calling. I'm pretty good about staying in touch with my brothers and my dad, but I found myself calling people to check on them that I haven't talked to for months. And so I think that being stuck at home or being in this very turbulent time is providing a good excuse to develop those habits anyway. I know that you can attest to this because that's the life you live, but it's such a blessing to those people. And not to mention it feeds you as well.
Mm-hmm.
Chelsea went next door to check on our neighbor here. We've been in our new house for like 6 months. We know him kind of. We know that he's an older guy and that he is a widower. He lives by himself. And so she said she could just see that it meant the world to him that she came over and chatted and checked on him from a safe distance, of course. So I think it's a great opportunity for people to reach out even digitally to the people that they know and love on them, for sure.
Sweet. Well, I appreciate that. And I mean, that's just how God's wired me. I love people. And when I meet someone, I'm like, I hope this isn't the last time, I get to talk to them. How can we stay in touch? And probably to a fault. Sometimes I probably come off as a creeper, but that's just how I'm wired. So, but I appreciate you encouraging me in that.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I'll leave you with this question because you made me think of it when you were talking about where you guys are now and just your travels. But where's your favorite place that you've traveled, and where is what place is on the top of your bucket list where you want to travel? Because I know you love to travel.
So I think I've always said, and I realized this after about my second or third time leaving the country, that my favorite place is wherever I just was, basically. Like the first time I went on a mission trip when I was a sophomore, I think, in high school, I'm telling you, more than half of us came back from Honduras, and we were 100% convinced we were going to graduate high school and move to Honduras and live in Honduras. And then when I went to Brazil, I think it was my next trip, I was like, this is my new love. I'm going to learn Portuguese. I'm going to move to Brazil. By the time I went to East Africa, I think I had figured out, yes, you're going to love this place. You may not. You may think you want to live there, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that hasn't changed. Still, anytime I go somewhere, I love it. So to answer the first part of your question, the most recent trip Chelsea and I took internationally was we kind of backpacked around Europe.
Okay, awesome.
So London, I had been before, but Chelsea wanted to go. and I wanted her to see it. Paris was new for me. It was gorgeous. It was magical. Belgium was super cool, but Amsterdam really took me by surprise. So I would say Amsterdam is one of my new favorite places.
Okay.
It has like the energy and vibrance of a New York City or a Chicago or a U.S. metropolitan area, but it's just that ancient architecture and the canals. It's like mixing the energy of a city with the charm of being old, I guess. So Amsterdam I really like. At the top of my bucket list right now is probably Dubai.
Oh, sweet.
I don't know that I have any kind of logic or a good reason other than I do love architecture, and so the tallest building in the world is there, and they do lots of cool things. And I think they're supposed to be hosting a world. Well, before this virus, they were going to be hosting a World Expo, what used to be the World's Fair, and it had been on my list to go there, but we'll see. Japan's also on the short list.
Sweet, awesome. Well, thanks so much, Sam, for taking the time just to dialogue with me about life and memories and just what's on your heart now in this time. I appreciate you being authentic with everything, and I'd love to end every episode, I guess you could call these, with prayer. So is there any specific way that I can be praying for you and Chelsea?
Yeah, for us, what I would say is work is very difficult right now. I'm in the flower business, and so flowers are a luxury product, which are not a priority for people when they're worried about, whether or not they're going to be able to pay their mortgage or pay their rent or whatever. I'm blessed to be working with a company that's in a very good and solid position, so we will survive this and be fine. But it's not the case for a lot of people in my industry, and it's not even the case for a lot of my own employees. So already we've had to furlough more than half of our employees. We hope that that's temporary.
Absolutely.
There are a lot of resources available to them right now, which is a good thing. The state of California is, and I don't want to get too political, but it's in times like this that it's a good thing to be in a pretty liberal state that's very highly taxed and very well regulated, because we're already ahead of the curve in providing people paid sick leave and all that kind of stuff. And my team has just been amazing. I had to, it seems surreal to even say this, but I had to lay off more than half of my employees yesterday, and they were trying to comfort me through it and saying, like, we get it, we can see what's going on, we'll be fine, we can't wait to get back to work. But I am, that weighs heavily. So
absolutely,
that's what I would say.
Absolutely.
Sure.
Well, can I pray with you, brother?
Yeah, please.
All right, let's pray. Lord, I thank you so much for Sam. I'm so blessed to know him well, because not only is he family, but he's a great friend. And Lord, I'm thankful for him. I'm thankful for how you have encouraged me through his life. And Lord, I just pray for him and Chelsea in this time with their jobs and with the decisions that he has to make, Lord. And Lord, I just pray for those other small businesses, as he mentioned, Lord. This is just an unprecedented situation, uncharted territory. And so, Lord, I just pray for him. I pray that you would give him wisdom, and I pray that it would be temporary. I pray for those folks that are affected and their families in this time. And I pray, Lord, that you would come through as a provider, as you always do, and just help them in this time, Lord. And I pray that it would just be a season, and that you would help the company to grow stronger through this. Lord, I just thank you again for this time, just to be able to catch up and chat in a unique way with Sam. And thank you so much for Jesus. And we pray all this in his name. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, man. Well,
Thanks,
you
man.
take care. I love you, brother.
Love you too.